Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. It is the player ratings. Everton 1, Leeds United 0 at Goodison Park today. Another really important 3 points for Everton. 2 consecutive wins for Sean Dyche at Goodison Park. And as I said, a really important victory in the grand scheme of the Premier League table. The results went against us today in terms of the other games. The likes of Southampton winning, of course, Bournemouth won as well, Nottingham Forest picking up points, so it was absolutely imperative that Everton went out and won this game, especially considering how close, both sides were in the Premier League table at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I thought there was fight, there was battle, there was desire, there was commitment, there was a world-class finish by an absolute legend of this football club. The game had everything really, similar to Arsenal. There were chances that had we have taken, the scoreline would have been much prettier. However, it doesn't really matter, because as long as we've won the game, that's all that matters. This is the play ratings. If you want to check out my instant match reaction, then please do go over and give that a watch. That is up on the channel currently. But for now, we're going to sit and do the player ratings. If you've not seen one of these shows before, we sit down and we give every player who played today a marking between 1 to 10. Obviously, 6 being the average, 10 being unbelievable and 1 being absolutely horrific. And yet we have a little talk about their individual performance. So let's get straight into it. Jordan Pickford, I'm going to give Jordan a 7 today. I don't think he had much to do whatsoever. His distribution was okay. Could it have been better? Yes, probably. Could it have been worse? Yes, definitely. As I mentioned, it was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst I've seen. He wasn't threatened whatsoever in terms of in front of goal by Leeds United, by any of those Leeds United forwards, which was surprising to me because Leeds have had a couple of good performances recently where a couple of their forward players have really shone and really stood out and really stepped up to the mark. And I expected them to make it difficult for Everton this afternoon and at least give us something to think about, but they didn't. They didn't do that at all. It was a really poor performance by Leeds United, and of course that led to Jordan Pickford practically standing around for 90 minutes. He had a couple of little bits to do, a couple of corners to deal with and stuff. A couple of long balls in, but other than that, he had a pretty quiet afternoon, Jordan. So I'm going to give him a 7. Vitaly Mykolenko, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I thought he was okay. Today. I thought in parts he was poor, and I thought in parts he looked like he struggled, and I thought in other parts he looked relatively okay. Look, he had a tough task today, as I said, in a couple of forward players for Leeds United that have definitely got the ability to cause a threat and to make themselves a nuisance in terms of their pace and their ability on the ball, dribbling, etc. So it was going to be a difficult afternoon for Vitaly, and as I said, he wasn't massively involved. It wasn't like he made any real big mistakes or he was massively involved going forward. I just thought every time he was on the ball, sometimes I'd sit there and think, "Yep, you've done really well done." Or he won a corner, or he won a throw in, or he'd done what you would want him to do with the ball, and other times he'd maybe struggled a little bit, his passing wasn't quite there, or he maybe didn't make the right decision. Yeah, as I said, I just thought he was okay today. I thought he was average. It's very difficult, really, to sit here and go in depth on Vitaly Mykolenko because, as I mentioned, Leeds United were fucking woeful today. Absolutely woeful. So it's difficult to sit here and really criticise him because he didn't have an awful lot to do, but he done okay. Into the centre-backs then, James Tarkowski, I'm going to give him a 7.5. Again, similarly to Jordan and Vitaly, not an awful lot to do today. Not an awful lot to have to deal with. I thought Patrick Bamford was quiet, very quiet, considering what he can do and what he has done in the past. I thought James dealt with everything he needed to do. His passing was okay. A couple of times he moved the ball out and he brought the ball forward when we needed to sort of be a little bit more expansive with it, and he did that well. A couple of good long balls across the over the top as well to try and get us in on the counter, to which he did well with. So, yeah, again, similarly to the others, as I mentioned, defensively, not an awful lot to go on, not an awful lot to go by because we didn't have an awful lot to do defensively, but nevertheless, his performance was still, what you would expect. Nothing silly, nothing stupid, just the simple bits, and he done them well. Similarly with Connor next to him, I'm going to give Connor a 7. Again, similar performance, worked hard, pulled himself about a little bit. Couple of moments that, maybe could have been shaky or could have been a little bit under the cosh a bit, and Connor dealt with them well, and was able to sort of nullify them and get rid of any potential threat fairly quickly as well. So I thought his performance was as expected. But is the Blues says his passing was much better than it was. Is his overall on the ball play was much better today. I thought recently in the last few weeks or so, obviously, without including Arsenal, even in at times in the Arsenal game, I thought Connor Cody's passing and his overall sort of, when he's been on the ball, he's panicked a little bit and he's not made the right decision or he's not found the right pass. Whereas I thought today he was much better in that. I agree. Seamus Coleman, Seamus is getting a 9. I thought taking away the goal, because you do have to, as I said, you have to contextualise these things and you have to take away the goal and look at his overall performance as well. I thought his performance was very, very good. I thought he had a pretty much a thankless task in having to deal with a couple of young, hungry, fast, wide players of Leeds United. And look, granted, Leeds United weren't on their absolute top form today. As I said, they were really, really poor, and maybe those forwards weren't particularly fancying that challenge. But I thought Seamus done really, really well in dealing with it. I thought he's done really well in dealing with anything that comes towards him. He made a couple of good challenges where he put his feet in and he got away with the ball, and he ended up, completely killing off their counter attack or their attack down the side, and I just don't think he struggled very much today. I think he looked good. As I said, he had non-toe to deal with, and he's been absolutely fantastic recently, and he dealt with them more than comfortably. And Seamus often does that, by the way. Seamus Coleman often, when you're sitting here before the game and you're thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, X is coming up against Seamus Coleman or Y is coming up against Seamus Coleman, you expect it to be an absolute bloodbath, and it's not very often the case. Seamus does very, very well against players that maybe before the game you're a little bit hesitant about how it's going to go. And then obviously his goal is wonderful. I've just watched this post-game interview. He was asked, did he mean it? He said, basically, yeah, he saw the goalkeeper off the line and he thought, if I can get this on target, there's a good chance it's going in, and he did. And for me, it was vintage Seamus Coleman. I said it in the instant match reaction, I'll say it again. There'll be a lot of people that aren't Everton fans that will watch that goal and go, oh my God, how Seamus Coleman managed to do that, what a fluke. But it's not a fluke, because 5, 6, 7 years ago, Seamus Coleman was doing that multiple times a season. Seamus Coleman was doing that confidently all the time. I remember his goal against Southampton. It was even better than this one today, and this one today was absolutely wonderful. So yeah, Seamus again stood up today. When we needed somebody to be the hero, Seamus Coleman was that, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. Into the midfield then, Abdoulaye Doucouré, I'm gonna give him a 6. I thought he was okay. Look, he gets massive marks down, and I'm not afraid to admit it, or I'm not afraid to say it. He gets massively marked down for that chance at the end of the game. I just think a professional footballer in that position, given the importance of this game, put it this way, had Seamus Coleman had not scored one of the goals of the season, and that game would have still been 0-0 at that time, and Abdoulaye Doucouré would have had that chance and he would have missed it, and we'd be sitting here talking about a goalless draw. Doucouré may be getting a 3 or a 2 from me, to be honest with you, because they're just chances that when you were in a relegation battle, and when games are tight, and when you're not 3 or 4-0 up, when you're 1-0 up, and when you're 1-0 up in football, there's every chance, no matter who you're playing, no matter how good they are, no matter how bad they've been in that game, or how out of form they are, or poor they are in terms of their position in the league, when you're 1-0 up, there's every chance that the opposition team can equalise. There will be games this season, I fear, where we aren't 1-0 up and we have chances like that, and we don't take them, and we end up sitting here saying, what a wasted opportunity, what a missed chance. That chance for me is really, really, really poor. I get it's on his left foot. I get, again, he's not completely in control of the ball, but he should be doing better with that. Let's be honest, he should be doing much better with that. But his overall performance, as I said, I thought he was okay. He wasn't massively in the game, got involved every now and then. Weird game, really, because we didn't really control it in the midfield. I don't think any of our midfielders were particularly unbelievable, to be honest, but they were all okay. They all done sort of a decent job. But as I said, Doucouré for me should do much better with that chance. On to Garner then. Garner's going to get a 6.5. I thought off the ball he was very, very, very good. I thought there was a couple of times he nicked the ball back, he won it back in possession, he put a couple of challenges in, and there was one particular moment where he showed his footballing ability. I think, which was, one criticism I've always had of Garner, even when he was here before he went to PSG, was his passing. And I think we've seen it multiple times, where he will not his passing, sorry, his dawdling on the ball, where he just thinks he's got more time than what he has, and he gets caught in possession. And we've seen it 3 or 4 times this season, and it's often led to a goal. It didn't lead to a goal today, thankfully, but it's often led to a goal where he's got the ball at his feet. And listen, you could say this is the fault of the teammates around him for not giving him a shout and saying man on, but he just always seems to think he's got more time, with the ball at his feet than he actually has, and he's dawdling with it, and he's dilly-dallying, and he ends up losing it. He did that today, but then on the flip side of that, you saw the footballer in him when he got the ball into him and he just knocked it past, I can't remember who the fullback was, but he knocked it past the fullback, got to the byline and put a really good ball back to Onana, who wasted the chance. So, yeah, again, hot and cold for me for Garner today, but I thought he done okay, and he done what he needs to do. Similar with Iwobi, I'm going to give him I'll give him a 7 actually for the assist for Coleman. I thought he was a little bit more involved, a little bit more. I've just realised I forgot about Onana. I'll do Onana in a minute. A little bit more involved, a little bit more creative, a little bit more attacking, a little bit more energy behind them and determination behind them. Again, nothing to write home about. Nothing I'm going to sit here and go, oh my God, he was absolutely world class. But he done okay today. He put himself about, worked hard. He done okay. Onana, I'm going to give him a 6 again. Similarly to Decore, he had one real big chance in that first half that he should have done better with. There's absolutely no doubt that ball back from Garner is pretty much perfect, and Onana does the typical thing that you're taught as a school kid to not do, and that's lean back when you're having a shot because the ball's always going to go to the moon. And he did that, and again, had he have lent a little bit forward or maybe wrapped his foot around it a little bit more, it'd have been a good opportunity. But other than that, he wasn't massively involved. A couple of moments where he nicked the ball back, a couple of moments where he was a little bit involved and stuff, but yeah, he was okay today, so I'm going to give him a 6 average. I expect better, and we've seen better, but he wasn't horrific. Dwight McNeil, I'm going to give Dwight McNeil a 6.5. Thought he worked hard. Again, very little in terms of output, very little in terms of any real sort of end product or quality going forward, shall we say. But one thing we've gotten out of Dwight McNeil in the last couple of games of Goodison under Sean Dyche is that work rate, is that desire, is that fighting, that passion, that grit, that determination. And whilst he mightn't be providing in terms of goals or assists at the minute, he is providing with effort and with battle. And he did that today. I can't sit here and fault his effort or his determination. I can sit here and say I don't particularly think he was very good in terms of his actual output as a footballer, because I don't. But I thought he didn't hide today, and that's something he's done in the last 2 home games. The Merseyside derby, everybody was woeful, but he didn't hide today. He was getting involved. He was putting himself about. I'm sure we all remember the moment where he had a little bit of a tussle with Tyler Adams. He was up. He was in the face of people. He was wanting to get involved in the game, and I can only applaud him for that. And then Neil Maupay, I'm actually going to give Neil Maupay an 8. Because I think behind Seamus Coleman, who is a deserving man of the match, not only because of the goal, because of his general performance, but I actually thought Neil Maupay, I said it in the instant match reaction, I think he deserves a lot of credit for today. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the only one that's seen this, but I thought his performance was very, very, very similar to Dominic Calvert-Lewin's performance against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago. I thought he made a usage of himself. I thought he held the ball up well. I thought he battled. I thought he worked hard. I thought he put himself about. He had a couple of chances, very unlucky to have one cleared off the line with the header in the first half. A couple of other, half opportunities that he mustered for himself that were never really going to cause a problem to the goalkeeper, but he still managed to muster them for himself. Yeah, again, I thought he was a real handful today, and I think it would be harsh to sit here and criticise Neil Maupay after that performance. By all means, criticise him for some of his previous performances, and that's fine, but I thought it was always going to be a worry going into this game, because when I'd seen the team sheet, I thought, well, what's the system, what's the style, what's the tactic? Because my first thought was the only change is Calvert-Lewin out and Maupay in. And Sims out and Maupay in, but from Arsenal, Calvert-Lewin out and Maupay in. And Neil Maupay can't do the job Dominic Calvert-Lewin does. Whereas today, I thought he did that job. And the Blues says Maupay and 8. Jesus, that's controversial. It is, but it's more a case of I just think he was much better today than what he has been. And it's mad with the striker, because whenever you give a striker a higher rating, if they've not scored, people are like, well, how can they get a higher rating because they've not scored? I just thought he was really a handful today. Put himself about, battled, worked hard. And as I said, he held the ball up well a couple of times. I just thought he had a good game. Onto the bench then, Tom Davies. Tom's getting a 6. Come on, ran round a bit, worked hard. You know, a couple of scary moments, but other than that, it was okay. And then Ellis Sims, I'm going to give Ellis Sims a 7. Because I thought Ellis Sims was impressive. The ball for Decore is absolutely fantastic. And Decore should do so much better with it. David's right. Dave said Sims was lively. He was lively, and he come on. He put himself about. He won a couple of headers. You know, he made himself a bit of a nuisance. He used his physicality. I've got absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. So there you go. They are the player ratings. If you have enjoyed them, please do leave a like. Massive thanks to everybody for watching in the live comments. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below. As I said, if you have enjoyed this one, please leave a like. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction, where we go in depth a little bit more about the game in itself. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, because it only takes a second and it does mean a massive amount to me. But big thank you all for watching. It means a massive amount to me, and we'll see you later.